Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
State Systems is focused on protecting life and property. As a local, privately owned company, our foundation was built on providing all businesses with complete fire and security protection and infrastructure cabling. State Systems is proud to be a part of the Mid-South community and a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb and Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Additional funding provided by Christian Brothers University, Power and Tel, and Baptist Memorial Healthcare. Get better with Baptist.
This month on The Spark, our theme is Building a Solid Future. We'll learn more about a Memphis-based engineering and architectural firm serving the public and private sectors and also serving our community here in the Mid-South. We'll take a look at an international educational and professional development organization focused on building upstanders and engaging students of diverse backgrounds to create a more informed and thoughtful society. And we'll highlight an organization dedicated to educating students about workforce readiness, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy through experiential, hands-on programs. Have you ever been excited by a new idea, inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way, so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders that are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're an international organization working to engage students of diverse backgrounds to create a more informed and thoughtful society. I'm here with the Memphis director of Facing History and Ourselves, Marty Tippins-Murphy. And for starters, international organization, rich legacy. Give us a little bit of the history for Facing History and Ourselves.
Sure. So Facing History and Ourselves has been around for nearly 40 years. It was actually started by a native Memphian, Margot Stern-Strom. Nice. Yeah, and so we have 10 offices around the world and partnerships around the world as well. And the organization reaches 3 million students every year. We've got 90,000 teachers in our network. But whether we're in a classroom in South Africa or in London or right here in Memphis or Boston where our headquarters is, it's always that same approach of really getting a young person to think about who they are, how they relate to other people, and really kind of start to develop their empathy and critical thinking. We help them become part of a community that's going to combat bigotry because kids will be thinking critically, they'll be looking at stereotypes and racism and making connections from history to today so that they will be part of a community that can really face real life challenges and be part of creative problem solving. We said we want to create a community of upstanders,
I
not
love that
bystanding.
term, right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole key is you look at pivotal moments, facing history, so you face our history, but yet you use the self-reflection and you figure out, okay, you know, in this instance, how would you react? What would you do? Put yourself in their shoes. How would you be an upstander? Describe kind of the curriculum. I mean, what does that mean? What does that look like?
So we start with the teachers because we know that teachers are the most important aspect in a classroom in terms of student success. And the teachers have, Facing History has very high expectations for the kids, so it's full of academic rigor and challenge. But we really give them, through looking at subjects like the Holocaust or racism in American history, a deep dive into a story or a history so that we can really start to grapple with these difficult moments and give kids those tools in a safe space so that they can make those connections to the choices that they're going to make in their own lives. So imagine a classroom where the kids are looking at school desegregation in 1957 in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they're looking and discussing the choices made by ordinary people. And at that time, a few people just absolutely terrorized those 9 black teenagers, but most people just looked the other way. Teachers, community members, students, were bystanders. But it's that story of one white girl in class who simply pulled her desk over to share her algebra book with a black boy every day. She shared her book because his book was stolen every day. Wow. And it's that moment where students start to think about their own inclination to speak up or to stay silent. And that's the pivotal moment, because then they see that choices really do make a difference, that a small step can make a big impact.
Well, one person, especially a youth, a student,
Right.
can make a huge difference. Give us an idea of the metrics, the number of teachers and students and schools that you work with here in the Mid-South.
So in the greater Mid-South region, we work with about 500 schools, and we reach 200,000 students each year. Wow. Over 2,600 teachers have gone through our program since we started 22 years ago here in Memphis.
Well, that's a great chance to let's show viewers a little bit of what this looks like in the classroom in a school setting.
When I was in 10th grade and I went on a civil rights trip with Facing History, I think that really shaped a lot of my desire and passion to kind of go into education, because I really think a lot of the inequity that exists is a direct result of our nation's history, and it's important to do something about that.
When we were studying it in class, it wasn't something that you stopped thinking about when you left. The curriculum didn't stop at the door.
It was a really incredible experience because we were able to interact with historical events, learn about historical events, and they were more real.
History does repeat itself, and if we want to be on the right side of things, then we must pay attention and be critically engaged with these historical moments so we don't allow some of the most atrocious acts in history to repeat themselves.
So that gives us some perspective as you bring it to life, the work in a school. You have a number of new resources you're providing as well. Elaborate on that.
Yes, it's a very exciting time. We've got a new case study on the history of Reconstruction coming out in the next year. We just launched a new guide on To Kill a Mockingbird, which I think is going to be such a powerful way for students to explore race and gender and class injustice, and the essential question around what does it take to raise a moral child. Another resource that we have is on Stax. We collaborated with them on music and social change, and really just a story of in our own backyard, how people came together during a time of segregation to create music and work together.
Well, I know on your end, you hail from Los Angeles. You were out there in Los Angeles working with Facing History ourselves, and so you've seen through your years a number of great success stories. Give us an idea, when you talk about challenging students to think along these lines and make ethical choices and be an upstander and do what's right, give us one success story of a student maybe that stands out that has gone through the program, or a teacher that has used the program and they've seen a difference, that a child, the light bulb goes off.
Sure, yeah, so yes, I've been with Facing History for 17 years, but I'm actually from Memphis, so it's been wonderful to come back and build on the wonderful work that's gone on before. So there's so many stories, and I think that's why I've been part of Facing History for so long, is that it gives me hope. You know, we look at some of the darkest moments in history, and some of the times when you just think, you know, how are we going to get this right? You know, we feel like history continues to repeat itself, but then you see a student who is faced with that. You know, there was a student who was a bully, who'd been racially profiled, and when he is in this class and meets a Holocaust survivor, and he says, I faced history and I faced myself. And suddenly he becomes empowered and he finds his voice, and now this student has gone on and graduated from college and is now active in his community, and there are just hundreds of thousands of stories like that when you think about all of the lives that Facing History has touched. And you know, my imperative is that all students deserve Facing History, and I feel like our community will only be better by getting Facing History to that many more students.
And so from a connection standpoint with the community, I love the fact that you had a traveling exhibit that went through Memphis called Choosing to Participate. It had a number of different exhibits that you could go through as adults and obviously with the students as well. And it challenged your thought process. It showed these pivotal moments in history and how one person reacted and how that changed the course and what would you do in that moment. So there's a lot of ways that the public can engage and be a support network for what you're doing. What are some other ways that we as the public can help?
So certainly financial support, it would be very important. Helping connect us to schools, connecting us to people that can make decisions so that Facing History can get into more schools, but also to learn about us and be part of our community. We have community conversations a couple of times a year. We'll also be doing more public events so that people can get a sense of, if they're interested in having those conversations about being an upstander, that they can be part of that as well, so that it's not just inside the classroom.
You're training the parents to have those conversations in their family environment as well.
Yes, and we have a program called Raising Ethical Children that does just that for parents or grandparents or anyone that's interested in raising, you know, the younger ones before they get to middle or high school and they get to have Facing History in school.
Well, lots of exciting progress, lots of exciting work that you're doing. I greatly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you.
They're an organization dedicated to working with students on workforce readiness, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. I'm here with the president and CEO of Junior Achievement of Memphis in the Mid-South, Larry Colbert. And for starters, you have a very widespread legacy and history with Junior Achievement, and it goes way beyond Memphis in the Mid-South. But give us some historical perspective.
Well, Junior Achievement is it's a national nonprofit economic education organization, Jeremy, and we've been in business since actually 1917.
Nice.
You know, obviously we weren't around then, but that's how long the organization has been around. Here in Memphis in the Mid-South, we've been around since 1955.
Wow.
So this year we're celebrating our 60th anniversary of being in operation here in Memphis in the Mid-South. And the unique thing about our local operation, we are one of 118 JA areas across the country. Our particular area here in the Mid-South, we go as far east as Jackson, Tennessee. Okay. As far south as Holly Springs, Mississippi. We have Tupelo on the horizon, and westward over to Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Nice.
So that is all the JA area, you know, for this Mid-South organization.
And you step into the classroom, you have curriculum, so you're working with the schools and the teachers, and it's financial literacy, it's workforce readiness.
Absolutely.
I love it because it teaches them how to be business leaders.
Well, Jeremy, what we do more than anything else, we're an economic education organization. We teach kids how business works. We fill the gaps that the kids don't get within the school setting. And what makes our programs really unique is our delivery system. And our delivery system is done by volunteers. And that's how even I got started with the organization. I was a JA volunteer for 9 years before I came to work for the organization. And that was some 18 years ago. But the delivery by volunteers, it fills that gap. So those volunteers, they serve as a conduit between the business community and the school system. They go into that classroom teaching our in-school program, kindergarten through 12th grade, age-appropriate curriculum so kids can have a better understanding of not only economics, but entrepreneurship, work readiness, and financial literacy.
And so it's everything from what does it mean to be a CEO to here's how you write a check and balance a checkbook and what it means to go to a bank.
Absolutely. Financial literacy is a huge challenge, as you know, in our community. And what we're able to do with the curriculum, age-based curriculum, is help kids to understand how important it is to have a handle on your own finances, how to handle that bank account, why you use a bank versus using a local check cashing, authority per se, or the other local, quote, liquor store, per se. As some students, that's how they're brought up and that's all they know. Well, we bring the real world to them and they have a better understanding of being successful by following these guidelines.
Well, the thing that I love is that it culminates in this amazing experience with JA BizTown. So before we talk about JA BizTown, let's show viewers a little bit about JA BizTown.
JA BizTown is an interactive exercise that teaches financial literacy to 5th and 6th graders. It's our position that education and workforce development are two of our biggest needs, and oftentimes that starts and ends hand in glove with financial literacy, and teaching our children financial literacy at a young age, we feel like, and research shows, is going to be a profitable equation for us at a later date. It's going to take a long time, but JA BizTown is going to break the cycle of generations of poverty, because these kids are going to come out of this program knowing more about financial literacy than any generation of their family ever. And we feel like that will have a very positive impact on our community as a whole going forward.
So you can see there's quite the buzz at J.E. Biztown. You're electing mayors, you've got CEOs, they're cashing checks at the bank, they're getting paychecks, paying taxes, all sorts of amazing things. But describe the work they're doing in the classroom to lead up to this culminating experience with J.E. Biztown.
J.E. Biztown is based on a curriculum and it's called Capstone. Capstone simply means that kids learn better by doing. So their retention after being trained in that classroom for 5 weeks before spending a 5.5-hour simulation at J.E. Biztown is prepping them for everything that takes place within their community. So once they arrive at J.E. Biztown, they already know that there are 16 different businesses within the facility. They've already elected their mayor. They've got a judge. Every business has an accountant. And so they're going about the business of trying to be successful for their day of work. And this is all about goods and services. The goal of the day is the kids sell enough goods and or services to pay off their business loan by the end of the day. So, you know, every business, there's a business owner and then the employees. I think one of the neat things about J.E. Biztown, however, is they get 2 paychecks a day, and all of their monies are deposited into their own checking account, you know, at the local bank. Everything that they purchase during the course of the day is purchased via either their checking account or using their ATM card. And this is teaching kids about what financial literacy is all about.
Absolutely.
And why it's important to manage your money. And also it teaches them the difference between wants and needs. You only have so much money to spend. You know, is this something you need, really? Just something that you want. And kids have an understanding of this. The other thing I think that's unique, this is one of those experiences, one I encourage all students to participate in all schools, but it's something that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. We all have those moments. This is theirs.
Absolutely. It's tremendous fun, especially, I mean, I've volunteered myself there, and to see it come to life is amazing. But the other thing is it becomes a spark for that student to take it back into their home.
Absolutely.
And for many of these parents who don't understand how to cash a check, how to write a check, what it means to have a bank account, they become the paradigm shift.
Absolutely. They become the teacher, you know, for the parents. You start that program now, the kids become the teacher.
Absolutely.
That's why it's critical.
And so, once again, volunteerism, extremely important, not only in the classroom, but there at J.E. Biztown. You have a number of easy ways for the community to play a part. One is 30th anniversary coming up for the Bowl-a-thon.
30th anniversary for the Bowl-a-thon started out as just a way to raise a few dollars to help the operation. Now it's our largest fundraising event of the year. And the sustainability of this program is been supported by the local businesses for that long. It is huge. So again, you visit our website, gives you all the information about participating, and come on out and support J.E. by putting your 5-person team together and raising funds through the Bowl-a-thon.
So you have the Chick-fil-A 5K, you have the Bowl-a-thon, you have J.E. Biztown, you have so many easy ways to get involved, to be a part of the good each and every day that you're doing here in the Mid-South. Greatly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do for us in the community.
They're a Memphis-based engineering and architectural firm working with both public and private entities. I'm here with the CEO and president of Pickering Firm, Inc., Mike Pullman, and give us a little bit of a snapshot, a historical perspective for Pickering Firm, Inc.
Thank you, Jeremy. Pickering was started in 1946 by a World War II vet who came back home, and O.L. Pickering, and started a survey civil firm. From that time, it's grown to a 140-person engineering architectural firm that has headquartered here in Memphis with offices throughout Mississippi, in Hernando, Jackson, and Biloxi down on the coast.
And the neat thing is, so obviously Memphis-based, you've got the regional offices grown to 140 employees, but you're working on projects that are both local and national. And so these are everything from huge airport projects to Kroger's and large warehouses. Give us an idea of the scope of the different projects.
Most of them have been expansion. The Kroger is a big player in this area, and they've expanded the Delta region where we started. They've taken us out to work on their stores, their sister companies. You know, they're a good client of ours, and we're a good team. We're a family. Same can be said of FedEx Ground, a sister company to FedEx Air here, and we were selected to be their main provider of services for the $1.1 billion Triton Hub.
So it's the surveying on the front end with the land, it's obviously the blueprints and the construction phase. What does that look like overall with these projects?
Well, it's very different for different users. We may be working with local chambers, economic development folks, recruiting people to come in. Nice. and bring their facility here, which provides jobs and all.
Well, a big part of it is hiring the right experts, and education plays a very critical role in that. And so you're heavily involved in education, everything from scholarships, professorships, to working even in the grade level with the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Give us an overall idea of why education is so important to Pickering Firm, Inc.
Well, we have to feed for us to grow, we need the people that are capable of doing our kind of work, and that's math and science driven. So what we do is at the college level, the universities that most of our graduates or most of our employees come from, we support scholarships there for the kids to make it easier to go to school and stay in school. And we also, to keep the better professors, we sponsor a professor endowment, which allows them to augment the salaries that the university is able to pay.
Well, we'll talk about it on the back end even more, but one of the things you do with your holiday giving is you send a Christmas card out, and really on their behalf you make a donation to certain selected nonprofits, and one of them this year was JIF, Juvenile Intervention with Faith-Based Follow-Up. So let's take a quick look, a little bit of a teaser of the work that JIF does here in the Mid-South.
JIF is a faith-based organization that works with court-assigned juvenile delinquent kids. Our mission is to break the destructive cycle of juvenile crime through Christ-centered intervention. And our vision is to see youth flourish free from a life of crime. Well, every year in Memphis, there are 11,000 cases that come through juvenile court. Of those 11,000, there's about 4,000 that are deserving of probably some type of jail or sentencing. JIF focuses on the repeat offenders within that 4,000 caseload. There's no other organization in Memphis that is addressing youth with this type of delinquent behavior. Pickering, in honor of their over 140 employees and many clients, they made a very generous donation to JIF, supporting the work and the ministry that we do. And it's a very substantial contribution, and the type of contributions that we depend on to be operational.
So that gives us the perspective on JIF, but one of the things that I love, which I mentioned before, is the fact that you tie in your holiday giving to year-round. So it's not only with the holiday card and working with nonprofits, but year-round you pick nonprofits or organizations that are near and dear to your employees' heart.
Right.
Talk about your philosophy, your philanthropic philosophy with Pickering Firm, Inc.
Well, whatever affects our individuals, our employees, and their family affects the whole company, the whole Pickering family. And we support that. We've got employees and employees' families that have been affected by various cancers, from leukemia, lymphoma, to breast cancer, to ovarian cancer, to we have MS going on. We've got some handicapped children. We support all this stuff and give a little seed money, if you will, and then encourage our employees to build on that. Get involved in that cause. Give your time, your treasure, your time, your talents, your treasures, and just make a difference.
Well, that's right. I like the fact that you start with the financial piece, but then you encourage and you support and you allow the freedom and flexibility for the employees to really roll up their sleeves and get involved hands-on.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is kids' education.
Right.
And it may be selfish for our profession, but we need more kids in the math and science. We've been a big player. The company started with the Jubilee Schools. Personally, I'm involved in that. And I think we made a difference in that. We provided some education for some folks that couldn't get it.
Well, you're a big part of like the Blue Streak Scholarship Fund, which provides scholarships for the students. Also, too, there's an internship program that they work with that allows the students to go in, and these are middle school and high school students going into professional environments to gain that work experience. So extremely important for them.
Very important. And I think one of the programs that one of my brothers started over at Catholic High was Education That Works, and it got the kids out of the classroom into an environment that they wouldn't see. They're in a business. They're seeing how people act at a business. Pickering it's unbelievable the opportunities that they've given me. I mean, I have a lot of free time. In this Jubilee, I've started a basketball tournament. It's over 10 years. They helped seed some of that money. they're active. People help me on it to do the prep that it takes to get there. And it's grown now to a big committee. There's some 40 people, I think, involved running that tournament every year, and I've kind of been able to back off a little bit. But just the other day, I'm at a kids basketball game, and I'm passionate about that. And here's my high school sophomore coach basketball in the stands. My son is coaching at the same place I started coaching, the school that I went to, St. Louis School. He's coaching my old coach's grandchild. And I mean, that's just, it's cool. It's real cool. And I went up and talked to him, and he thought it was cool. So it's, yeah, George Pratt had a big influence on my life. And I see kids that are now having kids, and they come up and, hey, Coach, how you doing? This is, introduce me to their children, and it's a neat thing. So you make a difference. Legacy is not always money.
Well, I greatly appreciate that's an extremely important point to end on, but greatly appreciate everything you do here in our community and for your company as well. So thanks for coming on the show and sharing.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
As we start a new year with fresh ideas and positive outlooks, it's important to make sure we're well grounded and ready to take the next steps in building a solid future. Sometimes, like with facing history in ourselves, it involves looking back at pivotal moments in our past and using those experiences as the lens to better understand each other and not be bystanders, but upstanders, doing and standing up for what's right. Having a solid foundation and blueprint is critical for the work that Pickering does as a business to literally build, but it also serves as their mission in our community to build up our youth and local nonprofits. Junior Achievement of Memphis in the Mid-South is working to prepare our youth to make sound financial decisions and build the next generation of leaders who will succeed in the workplace. Indeed, thanks to these organizations and viewers just like you, the future looks bright. So thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests and interact with your stories of others leading by example, visit thesparktv.org. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South.
Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
State Systems is focused on protecting life and property. As a local, privately owned company, our foundation was built on providing all businesses with complete fire and security protection and infrastructure cabling. State Systems is proud to be a part of the Mid-South community and a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.